Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to uhyeah Gaming. How y'all doing on this fine Friday afternoon, huh? It's been a pretty, not eventful couple days. If you've noticed, there hasn't been many uploads here ever since the X-Smart shit, because there really hasn't been anything to talk about. It's been pretty dead for a couple days here, but thank God for PAX. PAX is happening right now, which is an event where, there's a bunch of things being shown off and revealed. And one of those things is FNAF. And Steelwool is there right now at PAX as it's happening, showcasing the newest Five Nights at Freddy's game that's coming up, Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic. And we have some details about that I thought I'd just go over. We don't have any gameplay, no screenshots really, except for just kind of like one crappy screenshot of a VR kind of like UI or tutorial thing, which, doesn't matter. But other than that, we have no screenshots, no videos of gameplay. So we're really just going off of what people are saying here. And the main source I'm going to be using for this video is from Coda. Coda has played the demo, they're at PAX, and they have compiled kind of everything that happens in the demo, and we'll go through that bullet point list, and I'll talk about, my early thoughts on the, the summary or the description of what this demo is. Now, obviously, none of this is my final opinion. The fact that we don't have any gameplay or, I haven't played the thing for myself, I can't have a definitive opinion here. But just based on what this description is, I'll give my thoughts. But that will 100% change when the game comes out or when we see actual footage. So this is very, very early thoughts. So if I'm negative about something and that thing ends up being not a big deal, that's why. I just want to put that out there right now. But before we get into all that, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit 100,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I appreciate you all. Let's get into Secret of the Mimic. Alright, so just like last year at PAX, they have this really cool display for FNAF stuff, which includes a bunch of these kind of like prop replicas of characters from the series. Last year they had Eclipse from Ruin, which was really cool. And these are all done by Deregular Sauce. Shout out to them. This year they had a puppet one, which looks awesome, or marionette, in the box, and the whole thing is kind of like old school FNAF 2, kind of like FNAF 2 themed with like the banners and stuff, so I think having marionette there is really cool. And then the big one is that we finally have the full look at the character from Secret of the Mimic, which I think, I forget where I heard this, but apparently their name is Jackie, like the actual character. Obviously, the Mimic is inside, but the actual character is called Jackie, and that's like the full look of that Jack-in-the-Box character from the teaser. And I guess I can talk about their design for a little bit. Obviously, we haven't seen their model, so we're just going strictly off of this prop, which is very well made. Like, obviously, that's pretty given. But the actual design, I'm like very up in the air over. I think it could be cool in the context of the actual game, but it feels almost a little bit all over the place, which could be intentional, as this game does take place pretty early in the FNAF timeline, earlier than we've ever seen, I'm pretty sure. And with that in mind, this does kind of scream like something you'd see at one of those older, kind of like mascot places, or kind of like a design from that time period where they're a little creepy, like to a pretty big extent, even more creepy than like the Chuck E. Cheese or Rockafire Explosion animatronics. Like, it's a whole nother level of like unsettling almost. So I see it from that perspective. I just feel like this design maybe has too many colors. Like, it's like red for the pigtails and then like red for the bow tie and the buttons, but then the arms are orange for some reason. I don't get that. That just seems very weird. And there's a lot of blues and yellows, and the polka dots on the hat are black for some reason. And then the pom-pom is like orange too. I don't know. It just feels like a lot of colors. And once again, maybe the 3D model will totally sell me on this design. But as it stands, it's not bad. I don't hate it, but it's not amazing either. We really have to see this thing in-game before I truly pass any real judgment. Also, the eyes. The eyes are it's like green, kind of like normal eyes on this replica here. But obviously in the teaser, the first teaser we saw, it has completely different eyes. So I'm sure in the actual game, the character or the 3D model will get rid of its normal eyes at some point, and it'll just be those kind of like deep sunken black eyes with the orange lights for the pupils coming out, which obviously looks really cool. So yeah, I wouldn't put too much on this replica right now for this design. But as it stands, it's not amazing, but I do understand what they're going for 100%, and I'm excited to see it in the actual game, because obviously this is all we got right now, so that's all we got to work off of. So yeah, that's that. And then obviously, not only did we get the full character design reveal for this Mimic character, we also got a full breakdown of the gameplay of this demo, which is apparently very short, and also is apparently in VR, which is very, very confusing to me. Obviously, this game is being marketed and pushed as a normal FNAF game, kind of like how Security Breach was. But a couple days ago, when the PlayStation version of the game's store page was put up, we found out that there was optional VR support. So I was thinking like, oh, okay, it's gonna be like a side mode or something. But the fact that they are going to an event like this and showing the game for the first time and choosing to show it in VR does kind of worry me. Because this makes it feel like this game was not made for like as a normal game first and then was just given a VR mode as an extra thing. It feels like this game was made as a VR mode first, but then for whatever reason, whether it be like, I don't know, maybe Help Wanted 2 didn't sell as well as they wanted, or maybe because Security Breach sold more, I have no idea. Speculation, 100% speculation. But whatever it is, it feels like this game was developed, this is all 100% speculation by the way, feels like this game was maybe developed for VR first, and something happened where they wanted to pivot to marketing the game as a normal, regular video game that just has a VR stuff or a VR option. But yeah, just the fact that they're showcasing this game in VR first when they're advertising it as a normal game is really, really weird to me. And that's why I think what I think about, you know, like the development timeline of this game. Obviously, I know nothing. Pure speculation. But I mean, if you're advertising a game as a normal video game, wouldn't it be smart to showcase it as a normal video game? Like, we just had a VR FNAF game. I don't think anyone's clamoring for, you know, a similar type of experience again. And not saying this game is going to be similar, but just the idea that we're getting like two VR kind of, obviously one is way more focused. This is slightly less focused, at least in the marketing. VR games in a row. It's just kind of weird, and I'm not really sure how to feel about it. I kind of wish this game just didn't have VR stuff, because I would like it to just be a normal game. But I mean, you can't win them all. Some people like the VR stuff, so hey, whatever. And if it's optional, obviously, so it's not a huge deal. But I don't know, the fact that they're showcasing the VR version does worry me to an extent, and I wish they would just showcase the normal game to people, because that's how the majority of people are going to play it. It feels very, you know, pick and choose to show the VR version, which makes me lean to maybe it was being developed as a VR game first and probably plays better in VR, maybe, but I don't know. That's all speculation. It's about time we actually look into this description here, which is once again provided by Coda. Shout out to them. So yeah, let's go into this. All right, the first bulletin point here says 2 levels in the demo: Manager's Office and the Chase. So I'm not really sure how this game is going to handle levels. Obviously, something like, you know, Help Wanted or whatever, it's more like mini games. I'm not sure if those games are those mini games are referred to as levels in that game. I've not touched the Help Wanted games. I've really no interest in VR stuff personally, just a personal thing. Yeah, I'm not really sure how those are handled in FNAF Help Wanted 1 and 2. If they're like counted as levels, quote unquote. But I mean, this could also, I don't know how linear this game is. The way it's being described as levels could also mean it's a linear experience to an extent. You know, unlike Security Breach, which is probably a good idea. Obviously, that game was very, very ambitious to a fault. And they dialed that back with Ruin. And I was hoping they would kind of take the series more in the direction of Ruin, which this might be. I'm not really sure. But yeah, so this has levels, which also kind of screams VR game to me, where it's like, oh, let's segment the game up into these different things because it's a VR game. Which, you know, I already talked about my thoughts on all that. But hey, that's just an observation. Let's move on here. All right, so we have the next bulletin point. Gameplay is akin to actual free-roaming VR games / Hello Neighbor VR, which was developed by Steelwool also, so that makes sense. Options for moving around with the joystick or teleporting in tow. So I'm assuming this is kind of just like laying out the variety of ways you can move around in this game, or the control scheme or whatever. I have not played Hello Neighbor VR, so I have no idea what that game controls like. If any of you have played it and you think that game controls good or bad, let me know in the comments. I will, I'll look through them. I'll see. But I have no idea how that game controls. So if it controls like shit or if it controls great, no clue. So I can't really say much on this, but I don't know, the way this is being described, once again, it really feels like this is a fucking VR game that they are marketing as a normal game. But, that could obviously be total BS, and we'll find out once the actual game comes out, or, once we see more gameplay, but from this description alone, I'm getting that vibe. All right, we have the next bulletin point here. Game is set in a toy factory. Honestly didn't have much visual connection to FNAF outside of those Fredbear Family Diner posters from the security breach extras being donned on the walls, and what appeared to be a schematic for a mascot version of Mr. Hippo. So that's interesting that we have the mediocre melodies being part of this in some way, which obviously they definitely date back kind of later in the timeline, so it makes sense that they're being referenced here to an extent. Maybe it was just a weird part of the game, but the fact that it doesn't feel FNAF-y, maybe that's just the time period also, and that we haven't seen a game in this time period, but that also feels a little weird, but it could be interesting. I'm totally down for that, and I like that it's in a toy factory. I wasn't really sure where this game was going to be set. Toy factory makes sense. You know, FNAF, or, you know, Freddy Fazbear Enterprise toys in universe, it has been a thing. There's always merch and all the prize counters and everything, so the idea that there's a, you know, Fazbear-owned toy factory, even back then, makes sense. Sure, I can go with it. I can deal with it. That's cool. Alright, demo is very short. Got done with both levels in about 5 minutes tops. So, that makes sense for a PAX environment where you have to get people in and out to play this demo. Although they're not letting people record or anything. So they gotta just like, alright, you're in, you're out, you know, quick. So yeah, I mean, the length of the demo doesn't really mean anything. We don't know how long this game is gonna be. If it's gonna be like a full-length game or more of like a budget game, with price-wise. Who knows? But yeah, short demo, makes sense for the environment the demo is being shown at. Nothing to say there. Alright, now we're getting into the first of the levels here, the manager's office. Coda said, in the manager's office, you explore the manager's office of the factory, I guess. A wall is broken in there, which takes you to a small room in the factory where you wind up the box from the trailer and get introduced to the Jack-in-the-Box character. So I guess that's setting, this is probably more the beginning of the game, if I had to assume. You're being set up with this Jack-in-the-Box mimic character, Jackie, who I'm assuming is going to be with you for a good portion of the game to some extent. So yeah, that makes sense. This does seem like the intro of the game if you're just being introduced to the main antagonist or main, character from the trailer. From there, you take the crank to open the door in the manager's office, which takes you down a hallway leading to a mailroom featuring an NPC reminiscent of the staff bots who's sorting the mail. I guess this is, like I said, kind of just taking you through the intro here. You find a generator that is not active, which connects to a door. You keep pumping one of these pull card lawnmowers to have it activate the generator, but as you do the Jack-in-the-Box, you keep pumping one of those pull cord lawnmowers to activate the generator. But as you do this, the Jack-in-the-Box character comes through the door you did and tears shit up in the office. Animation is really good, by the way, so hey. Steel animation's always pretty good. Post Help Wanted, I'll say. Actually, no, there are some good animations in Help Wanted, but in Security Breach, mostly ruined forward. Obviously, animations have been very good, so I'm glad that's being kept up. Good quality. So it looks like the Jack-in-the-Box character is trying to get you at this point. Makes sense. Looks to be an antagonist. Makes sense. Yeah. Door opens, you go in and try to hide an event, but it falls through, and that's where manager's office ends. So that's the first level. Seems very quick. Really seems like an opening to the game. And now we have the chase, which is the second level in this demo, so let's go over that. The chase picks up, I guess, from this, and you're in a deeper part of the facility. Jack-in-the-Box is trailing you for a little while until you get to the elevator, in which you activate it and then start the chase. Chase is pretty standard, Poppy Playtime-esque chase scene, honestly. You keep seeing Jack-in-the-Box hands slam the walls to the left and right of you. Depending on the execution of that could be good. Obviously, the Poppy chase is such a fucking overdone trope to so many extents at this point, even if it's good, it's going to feel a little tired and dated, maybe. But if it's good, hey, it's good. We take that. I wonder how that feels in VR, though. That seems like it might be really, like a chase in VR might be a little gross or like nauseating almost. So we'll see about that. But, yeah, so, there's that. There's the chase. You crouch through some vents and you pull up a couple levers here and there, etc., etc. You escape from the Jack-in-the-Box through another hole in the floor, and you climb through a vent while you hear the Puppet Box remix from the trailer. So if you don't remember from the teaser trailer for this game, there was a remix of the puppet music from FNAF 2, when you're winding the box up. So that comes back. Interesting. And then we have the end of the demo here. It says, demo ends with Jack-in-the-Box finding you in the vent, grabbing you, and then it falls through again. So I'm assuming you just kind of keep going deeper and deeper into this kind of facility, which Garten of Banban core. But yeah, it's very, very simple kind of like look at what this demo is and what this game is. But nothing here screams like it's like super cool to me. Obviously, we haven't seen the game. Obviously, that's gonna be a whole different picture. So I will definitely make a video once we have footage. But I just wanted to, for anyone who isn't on Twitter or anything that wants to know kind of like where we're at with this, this is where we're at with this. This is kind of like what we know about this game so far. I'm sure we'll see actual footage sometime later this year, if not sooner, or someone will leak footage. Who knows? But at some point, I feel like we'll definitely see more footage of this demo. But for now, that's pretty much it, and I just wanted to keep that kind of like, leave it there. I don't have too much else to say because, once again, there's not much else to say. We don't know what this game actually looks like or anything. But yeah, that's pretty much it, so we'll leave it there. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm really excited to see where this game goes, and if it's going to be good or, bad or whatever, we'll see. We'll find out. But yeah, that's the tea. That's what's happening right now. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Gaming, and I'll see you all next time.